Chapter 19. Lies about who to worship. I mentioned in a prior chapter that the New World leader will demand your worship. Remember, this will be a leader people like, and they'll want to sing his praises. I'm sure you'll see this worship manifest more and more as he gains power and the adoration of the people. Leaders throughout history have demanded acts of worship from their people. They've built massive statues of themselves. They've declared public holidays honoring themselves. They've demanded their picture hang in their subjects' houses. They've put their picture on currency. They've punished people for saying bad things about them. In churches, they've replaced Jesus on the cross with an image of themselves on the cross. Those are all forms of worship. Don't participate in any of these kinds of acts, no matter how harmless you think they may be. If you give Satan an inch, he's going to take a mile. As soon as you participate in any form of worship, you'll start to justify doing more, and then more. Before you know it, you'll be singing the Antichrist's praises just like everyone else. Halfway through the tribulation period, this leader will show his true nature. Remember that the tribulation period lasts 7 years, and starts with this leader confirming a peace treaty with Israel. So 3.5 years after that treaty begins is when you'll see his demands for worship intensify. In this verse, the Antichrist is the one who makes a covenant. He will make a firm covenant with many for 1 week. In the middle of the week, he will cause the sacrifice and the offering to cease. On the wing of abominations will come one who makes desolate. Daniel 9:27. By this time, the third temple in Jerusalem will be built. This temple is where the Jewish people go to worship God and perform animal sacrifices to atone for their sin. You see, they are still blinded by the enemy as well. They don't realize Jesus is the Messiah and that he already died for their sin. So they will willingly follow the Antichrist because his peace deal will enable them to build this temple. The Antichrist will enter that temple, do something to desecrate the temple, declare himself God, and demand your worship. In these verses, the Antichrist is the king. Forces will stand on his part, and they will profane the sanctuary, even the fortress, and will take away the continual burnt offering. Then they will set up the abomination that makes desolate. The king will do according to his will. He will exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and will speak marvelous things against the God of gods. He will prosper until the indignation is accomplished. For that which is determined will be done. Daniel 11:31-36. The Bible tells us that the Antichrist is able to convince many to worship him, not because he's a skilled leader or a good speaker, but because of signs and wonders. He gets this power from Satan. He's going to attempt to convince you that he is in fact Jesus. He's going to do this by seemingly raising himself from the dead after he's had a terrible accident. I know this is crazy, but it's going to happen because God told us so in advance. Remember that the false prophet is another beast, and Satan is the dragon. It says the false prophet deceives people because of the signs he's able to do. Then it mentions he gets everyone to worship the Antichrist, who has a fatal wound healed. The Antichrist has a sword wound and lives. In this verse, the Antichrist is the first beast and beast. I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. He had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke like a dragon. He exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence. He makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. He performs great signs, even making fire come down out of the sky to the earth in the sight of people. He deceives my own people who dwell on the earth, because of the signs he was granted to do in front of the beast, saying to those who dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast who had the sword wound and lived. It was given to him to give breath to it, to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause as many as wouldn't worship the image of the beast to be killed. Revelation 13:11-15. This verse is speaking about the Antichrist, who is the beast. Notice his head appears to be wounded fatally. That means the people think he died. His wound is healed, and the whole world is amazed by this. This is one of those signs I've been talking about. I have no doubt it's going to look believable. Just see it for what it is, a deception trying to convince you that he deserves to be worshipped. One of his heads looked like it had been wounded fatally. His fatal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled at the beast. Revelation 13:3. Now here's an interesting description about the Antichrist and this wound he gets. He will have injuries from a sword, an arm that's withered, and he'll be blind in his right eye. In these verses, the Antichrist is the worthless shepherd. For behold, I will raise up a shepherd in the land, who will not visit those who are cut off, neither will seek those who are scattered, nor heal that which is broken, nor feed that which is sound. But he will eat the meat of the fat sheep, and will tear their hooves in pieces. Woe to the worthless shepherd who leaves the flock! The sword will be on his arm, and on his right eye. His arm will be completely withered, and his right eye will be totally blinded. Zechariah 11:16-17. You must know that God holds the power over life and death, not Satan. Whatever it is that you see happen with this world leader, the truth is that he didn't raise himself from the dead. He's deceiving you. He's a master magician. This world leader is not Jesus and is not God. The Lord gives both death and life. He brings some down to the grave, but raises others up. 1 Samuel 2:6 NLT. There is only one who is worthy of your worship, and that's God. The Lamb is Jesus. And the angel said to me, Write this, Blessed are those who are invited to the wedding feast of the Lamb. And he added, These are true words that come from God. Then I fell down at his feet to worship him. But he said, No, don't worship me. I am a servant of God, just like you and your brothers and sisters who testify about their faith in Jesus. Worship only God, for the essence of prophecy is to give a clear witness for Jesus. Revelation 19:9-10 NLT.